Hey, don't let this segment mess our marriage.
I'm so protective of her because I know what she up against.
There's trouble brewing in the world of Steve Harvey, and it's not the kind that can be smoothed over with a few jokes or a motivational speech. The beloved television host and comedian, known for his sharp suits and even sharper wit, has seemingly vanished from the public eye, leaving fans and insiders alike scrambling to piece together the puzzle. Whispers about his sudden departure from the United States have ignited a firestorm of speculation, and the timing couldn't be more suspicious. Harvey, who has built a career on telling others how to navigate life's challenges, appears to be facing a storm so fierce it's driven him and his family into total silence. And if the rumors are even half true, this isn't just about family drama or a retreat from the limelight, it's about a connection to one of the entertainment industry's most shocking scandals.
I'm having a bad day right now.
For weeks now, the chatter around Harvey's abrupt exit has been getting louder. What began as quiet murmurs and gossip columns has grown into a full-blown media frenzy, closed projects, liquidated assets, and a near-total disappearance from social events. This isn't the Steve Harvey the world knows. And it's not just the speed with which he seemingly shut down his public life, it's the lengths he's reportedly gone to in order to protect his family from what's coming. Sources close to the comedian have hinted that he sold off large portions of his real estate portfolio in record time, unloading properties in what looks like a panicked rush to sever ties with anything that could keep him tethered to the United States. And then there's the issue of his professional commitments, or rather, the lack of them. Harvey, who's typically booked solid with television appearances, hosting gigs, and business ventures, has gone eerily quiet. No announcements, no high-profile events, just a deafening silence.
I can't really tell you what's wrong with kids, but I can tell you what the hell wrong with parents.
But it's the rumors of his connection to Sean Diddy Combs that have turned this story into something more sinister. Diddy, once the king of the music world and a master of reinvention, has been drowning in allegations so explosive they've left his empire in tatters. Lawsuits, federal investigations, and reports of once glamorous parties hiding a much darker reality have painted a picture of a man whose influence may have been built on more than just business savvy and star power. And now, Steve Harvey's name is being whispered alongside his. The connection? Those infamous parties, the ones that have become the stuff of scandal and intrigue, where the guest lists were as exclusive as they were secretive. Word is Harvey was a regular fixture at these gatherings, mingling with the elite, sharing laughs, and, if the rumors are to be believed, witnessing things that might now be coming back to haunt him.
Young man, but you gotta understand, you gotta forgive your fathers, because they human too. They made mistakes.
It's hard to ignore the timing of it all. Just as the walls start closing in on Diddy, with lawsuits piling up and witnesses coming forward, Harvey decides to exit stage left. It's almost too convenient to be a coincidence. And while Harvey's public image has always been one of wholesome advice and family values, the connection to these events paints a far more complicated picture. These weren't just any parties. These were the kind of gatherings that insiders have described as untouchable, where the rules of the outside world didn't seem to apply. Lavish settings, high-profile attendees, and enough secrecy to fill a dozen tell-all books. And now, lists are reportedly being compiled implicating those who attended, those who knew, and those who might have stayed silent. If Harvey's name appears on those lists, it could be the kind of revelation that changes his legacy forever.
I could tell you some hard parts for me.
What's even more unnerving is the sheer scale of what's being alleged. Diddy's legal troubles aren't just about him. They're about a network, a system, a culture of silence that allowed the unthinkable to happen while the world looked on in admiration. And while Harvey hasn't been directly accused of any wrongdoing, the proximity alone is damning. In Hollywood, perception is everything, and being linked to a scandal like this can be just as damaging as being at the center of it. Whether Harvey was an active participant, a passive observer, or simply a guest who didn't ask too many questions, the fallout could hit him just as hard. That's the reality of guilt by association, in a world where the lines between power and accountability are often blurred.
It's like haters. When you get haters, you know, people's opinion of you is none of your business. I have lots of haters.
Behind the scenes, insiders are scrambling to understand just how deep this connection goes. There are whispers of photographs, guest lists, and even potential testimonies that could confirm Harvey's presence at these gatherings. And while his team has remained tight-lipped, the silence is starting to speak volumes. If there's nothing to hide, why not address the rumors head-on? Why not offer an explanation, a denial, or even a simple reassurance to his fans? Instead, there's been nothing but an eerie quiet, as if every word is being weighed against the potential consequences. It's a strategy that might work in the short term, but as the investigation into Diddy's activities continues to unravel, the pressure will only build.
So I don't give them no energy. I give haters no energy. Steve ain't this, he think he this. You don't even know me.
And then there's the question of why Harvey would have been there in the first place. What drew him into Diddy's orbit and what kept him coming back? The two men on the surface couldn't be more different. Harvey, the clean-cut television personality with a knack for self-help advice, and Diddy, the flashy mogul with a reputation for excess. But dig a little deeper and the similarities become clear. Both men are masters of reinvention, self-made success stories who built empires from the ground up. Both thrive on relationships, on being at the center of the action, on controlling the narrative. It's not hard to imagine how their paths might have crossed, or how Harvey might have found himself drawn into a world that promised exclusivity and influence. But what's harder to understand is why he stayed. As more details emerge about the parties and the allegations surrounding them, the picture grows darker. These weren't just social gatherings. They were a stage for power plays, where deals were made, secrets were shared, and boundaries were pushed. For someone like Harvey, who's built his career on being relatable and trustworthy, the association is a dangerous one. It raises questions about his judgment, his choices, and his ability to separate himself from a world that's now under intense scrutiny. And with reports of lists being compiled and tapes being reviewed, the stakes couldn't be higher.
To like check me and be like, hey, like, what you doing? You good?
Yeah.
You need to shake out of it, and maybe be like, okay, yeah, you're right, I'm tripping, I'm good.
What's clear is that this story is far from over. Harvey might have hoped that by stepping back, selling off assets, and retreating into the shadows, he could avoid being dragged into the spotlight. But in Hollywood, the past has a way of catching up with you, no matter how fast you run. And as the investigation into Diddy's activities continues to deepen, it's only a matter of time before the truth, or something close to it, comes to light. For now, all eyes are on Harvey, waiting to see if he'll break his silence or remain a ghost of the man the world once knew. And just like that, the narrative takes an even darker turn. Even as Steve Harvey's public life crumbles under the weight of unanswered questions, the storm brewing within his family is no less chaotic. For all his carefully cultivated image as the patriarch of a modern blended family, the cracks in the Harvey household have become impossible to ignore. And at the center of it all, Lori Harvey, Steve's stepdaughter, who finds herself tangled in a web of unresolved tensions and explosive allegations that threaten to pull the entire family into the abyss.
Steve and I have been drilling this into our daughters.
Lori Harvey, the socialite model and, until recently, the darling of high society, has always known how to command attention. But now, the whispers surrounding her past relationship with Diddy are growing louder, more pointed, and far more damaging. What was once dismissed by many as tabloid gossip, a fleeting romance between a rising starlet and a music mogul, has now taken on a far more sinister tone in light of the accusations against Diddy. And the spotlight is turning towards Steve Harvey, the man who allegedly facilitated their introduction. What started as an innocent acquaintance has now become a lightning rod for speculation. Did Steve know about the undercurrents of Diddy's private life? And if he did, how could he possibly justify letting Lori anywhere near him?
What's the best advice they've given you?
Just remember that you're the prize at all times.
Boom.
Best advice.
The tension between Steve and Lori has reportedly reached a boiling point. Insiders close to the family describe a relationship that has grown strained, if not outright fractured, over the past few months. Lori, fiercely independent and unafraid to distance herself from controversy, is said to be furious at the implication that her stepfather could have knowingly placed her in harm's way. The once glamorous image of the Harvey family, vacations in Italy, red carpet appearances, and public declarations of love, is beginning to unravel, replaced by a palpable sense of unease. Lori's silence on the matter speaks volumes. For someone who's never shied away from addressing rumors head-on, her refusal to comment on her stepfather's involvement with Diddy's inner circle only fuels the narrative that there's more here than meets the eye.
Didn't Diddy's son date her?
Yes!
That cannot be true.
Diddy and Lori Harvey, they're heating things up in Italy.
Notice her arm is on the back of his chair.
But the fractures don't stop there. Marjorie Harvey, Steve's wife and the matriarch of the family, is reportedly grappling with her own internal battle. For years, she stood by Steve's side, weathering scandals and whispers about her own controversial past. Yet now, the weight of this latest controversy appears to be too much to bear. Rumors of a potential divorce have been swirling, and while neither party has commented publicly, the signs are hard to ignore. Marjorie has been noticeably absent from Steve's recent public appearances, or what few remain, and sources claim she's been quietly seeking legal counsel to protect her reputation and her assets. After all, Marjorie has her own legacy to consider, and being dragged into this firestorm could reignite scrutiny over her previous marriages, both of which were to men with less than savory reputations. The last thing she needs now is to be painted as complicit in a scandal of this magnitude.
2 is 49.
Diddy is 49 years old.
Oh, man!
That is a 27-year difference.
What makes Marjorie's position even more precarious is the sheer volume of skeletons that could come tumbling out of the Harvey family closet if this situation escalates. Her previous partner's legal troubles were well documented, and her ability to escape unscathed has always been the subject of speculation. Now, with Steve's name being linked to Diddy's infamous parties and the potential fallout from Lori's past relationship with the mogul, Marjorie's carefully curated image of elegance and resilience hangs by a thread. The question is not just whether she'll stand by Steve, but whether she can afford to.
I think it's more interesting that Steve Harvey's there.
And while the Harvey family tries to hold their crumbling foundation together, the investigation into Diddy's alleged activities continues to pick up steam. New details emerge almost daily, each more shocking than the last. Witnesses, former staff members, and even alleged victims have come forward, painting a picture of a world so far removed from the glitz and glamour of celebrity life that it feels almost surreal. And yet, it's real enough to have sent shockwaves through Hollywood. The implications are staggering. If Diddy's alleged behavior was as widespread and systematic as it now appears, who else was involved? Who else knew? And who else, like Steve Harvey, might find themselves implicated by association? What's even more alarming is the alleged links between these parties and an intricate network of industry players, some of whom are said to wield enormous influence in entertainment circles. From producers to executives, whispers have emerged suggesting that Diddy's gatherings may have been more than just a playground for the elite. They may have doubled as informal power brokering sessions where careers were made and broken. Attendees allegedly understood an unspoken code. Participation came with rewards, but refusal could mean a swift end to opportunities. And now, with the investigation peeling back the layers of secrecy, the fallout threatens to sweep up anyone who ever even brushed against this shadowy underworld. Could Steve Harvey, with his extensive connections and ubiquitous media presence, have been a pawn, or worse, a player in this game? Even more chilling are the suggestions that some who attended these events may have been drawn in unwittingly, only to find themselves trapped by secrets they couldn't afford to have exposed. Rumors abound of leverage being used, photos, recordings, or simply the whispers of association to keep people quiet, compliant, and useful. It's a system that thrives on fear, and as the investigation unfolds, the question becomes who will break first? Legal experts have hinted that prosecutors are already working on immunity deals to encourage insider testimonies, which could open the floodgates. If someone tied to Diddy's circle decides to name names, the ripples could turn into a tidal wave, dragging down even those who thought they'd distanced themselves long ago.
Her mother is 54 years old. Her mother is 5 years older.
And then there's the question of why it took this long for the walls to come crashing down. For years, Diddy's extravagance was celebrated, his larger-than-life persona a staple of celebrity culture. But now, critics argue that the warning signs were always there, hiding in plain sight. From the secrecy surrounding his parties to the whispers that followed him from city to city, it seems almost impossible that so many people could have missed what was happening. Did they turn a blind eye, or were they just too afraid to speak up? And where does Steve Harvey fit into that timeline? Was he simply another attendee swept up in the allure? Or did he see more than he's letting on?
Incredible. And, it brings into context our whole system of innocent till proven guilty. Why is he not being given bond? And, we could debate that all day long. Of all people that's unlikely to flee or get away, well, he's got the resources to flee, but he's so recognizable. And isn't he innocent till proven guilty? Well, yeah, but, we have to recognize there are degrees of innocent till proven guilty.
One of the most chilling aspects of this entire ordeal is the growing list of names reportedly tied to Diddy's inner circle. Industry insiders claim that the investigation has uncovered not just evidence of wrongdoings, but also a detailed network of enablers, confidants, and silent witnesses, all of whom played a role, whether actively or passively, in maintaining the facade. And while Steve Harvey's team has remained tight-lipped, refusing to address the mounting speculation, the silence only adds fuel to the fire. If Steve has nothing to hide, why not come forward? Why not join the chorus of voices condemning Diddy, distancing himself from the scandal and protecting his family's reputation? Instead, his retreat into the shadows feels less like a tactical PR move and more like the actions of a man with something to lose.
Legitimate concern. No judge wants to wake up and read the headlines the next day. Oh, they treated this guy special and they gave him bond, and now he's gone and he fled from justice. So that's what's in the back of most judges' minds. On the other hand, we deal with cases where clients have significant funds sometimes, and sometimes where there's money, you can craft a unique solution. Years ago it was the ankle bracelet and the ankle monitor.
As the walls close in, the stakes couldn't be higher. For Steve, the fallout from this scandal could extend far beyond his public image. His empire, spanning television, radio, books, and endorsements, has always been built on a foundation of relatability and trust. He's the man who tells others how to fix their lives, how to find love, how to succeed against the odds, but how can he continue to play that role if his own life is unraveling in such a spectacularly public fashion? And for Lori, the implications are just as severe. Her burgeoning career as a model and influencer depends on her ability to stay above the fray, to maintain an image of effortless glamour and independence. Being tied to a scandal of this magnitude, even peripherally, could derail everything she's worked for.
That with all the money he has and all the resources he has, they couldn't craft some solution that lets him be under some form of house arrest. And again, it sounds like special treatment, but the truth of the matter is, to incarcerate somebody like him is expensive to all of us. We're taxpayers, and he's got to have unique situations. You can't put him in general population where, everyone wants a piece of him and everyone wants to be his friend and everyone.
And then there's Marjorie, the woman who's always been the glue holding the family together. If she chooses to walk away, it could signal the final unraveling of the Harvey brand. Without her, Steve's carefully constructed image of a modern family man could fall apart, leaving him to face the storm alone. And for someone like Steve Harvey, who's always thrived on the strength of his connections and the loyalty of his audience, that kind of isolation could be devastating. But perhaps the most unsettling aspect of all is the sense that this is only the beginning. The investigation into Diddy's alleged activities is far from over, and as more details come to light, the ripple effects will continue to spread. Who else will be named? What other secrets will be exposed? And how much longer can Steve Harvey, Lori Harvey, and Marjorie Harvey continue to outrun the shadows of their past?
Well, Sierra, anything's possible, right? But now this judge has an even harder time, I think, because the past judge locked him up, didn't let him out, and he's still there available for trial. If the new judge lets him out on bond and something goes wrong, and this isn't the analysis that I'm proud to make, right? We shouldn't be saying, well, judges are worried about their own skin and how they look if something bad happens.
So what do you think? Is Steve Harvey just an innocent bystander caught in the crossfire? Or is there more to his sudden disappearance than meets the eye? And what about Lori? Should she speak out, or is her silence the smartest move she can make right now? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, stay tuned, because this story is far from over.